Good morning, good morning. Sorry about that. Um, hmm. Two-sided auction here. We've got sellers getting faded into these lows, which makes sense. Supportive area from the pop-up from Globex, but very clear absorption here into our highs. So kind of stuck for now. What we want to see happen is we retest this value edge from today that we built, and then see a very clear supportive hold and then push if we're going to go up. Right, we want to be watching this this flip that happened here into these lows on ES and RTY with Russell as well. And if we can get this, we should be able to pop up to, I don't know, 500, 520, maybe. But if this fails here at this pivot, I think that we will look back below value and then continue on our way. That'd be my guess with how we're interacting right now. Just want to be really watching our value edge retest here for the higher low, and then how we're going to interact here as we push down into this. Yes, it's new. Don't worry about it. It's for me. Good hold so far off of our low on ES and NQ, rotating back up to our highs with Russell holding. Again, the problem is that we just have so much selling above us. It's very unclear which way we want to go yet. New 15s have opened, opening below POC of the previous candle on ES, retesting into our value edge low. NQ opening at POC of previous candle and our value low here. Into our value low, previous candle here on NQ. I think we are going to be looking for a just a good reoffer if it's going to go down. I don't think it's there yet. I think we need to touch into like 370 on NQ and then look for a reoffer into 400 or something like that if it's going to sell. But so far holding our pivots on the opposite side. But again, I think that as we come down into 370, let's just like watch to see if we then get like a nice little bounce and then a better seller stepping in. Again, I have a really hard time trying to short this area, just because we've seen a pretty reactive low here. I'd like to see a bit of a better retest off of that. Let's see what they do here. So this is where we watch. We're testing back into POC of our previous candle here off of a very reactive bounce off of our value low. So if a sell side was going to step in, I'd expect it to be around here. Again, this is just a reactive level off of this value low. And we're now watching this to see if we're going to hold that as an offer point. Now that we've bounced to here, and see if we can push below this now more aggressively. Russell still flat, holding VWAP. Still just balance. There's no ability to push below or above. It was a good reoffer, but no follow through at our edge low. So it just rotates back up, retesting highs now again into 440 on NQ. We just have this like very clear upper distribution that they're trying to get us back into. It needs to flip back above and then rotate if it's going to go up. If it can hold here and not take out highs, then we will continue to make that lower offer, right? Slowly just making that lower high. Just need to keep an eye on this to see if they're going to continue to sell here like we identified already, and if they can step down below for that follow through, or if, right, like this is going to be able to get back in and then bid off of this for a rotation up. Again, we've identified where they're participating, but we haven't seen that secondary desire to kind of like push through. It's the same thing on ES, where we've identified a very clear low, but there's also the seller above sitting here. We can see that also on our 15-minute footprint. And I don't think that we'll probably get this break down or break out until Russell decides where it wants to go. It's probably just balance here until we sit, but at least we've identified both edges and we know what to look for at these edges. Just took out that high. That's a bit interesting to me. Watching to see if we can hold here on this look above 60s for a push to 520, or if they're going to trap here and then look us back below like 430. Just watching. I'd like to see some sort of responsive bid on this edge high, like we did. We want to see the opposite of what we saw at our edge low, right? Which is no responsive sellers. We would like to see a pretty active bid try to step up here if we're going to hold. I'd like us out of this range that we've identified. Show an active participant here willing to try to defend, push us up to our POC if you're at like this 507, 520. The bid would, I think, wants to defend this 440, 460 area. Sell side's going to want to try to step us back below and reoffer that 40 if this is going to fail, trapping these participants above. We're just trying to form some sort of catalyst here, right? We've trying to, you can see them, right? Like this is either going to be able to hold and bid here for this push, or it's going to trap when we look back below. So we're just watching this as we push up. So far holding. That's your first target there, 506 POC, previous candle. And 520 would be your secondary. So we're just watching to see what we do now that we're pushing up after we flipped our PVZ POC and our pivot high. We've now pushed up to our value high and watching to see if we can get continuation here or if sell side steps in. We are pushing into our 506, 520. Let's see if we can flip it or if that's all we get. This is day open on Russell and our 30-second opening range and value high on ES. Really important area to see if we're going to be able to get some continuation here. If we can flip this 20 to 40, we're in a pretty good spot as this is where there was a huge seller absorbing before. So take off a little risk and then let's see if we get some continuation. I've taken off 1 on NQ here. I have to delete this so that I can move charts, but this was good. All right. Well, let's see what we do. Again, we're just pushing into our value to POC of this previous 15 here that we've identified. And we're watching to see what they do with it. We have identified this as supply. Good job. I'll try to continue to absorb here. We have 20 seconds until new 15s just opening, right? We're just closing into this previous POC to value where we saw absorption occurring. Watching to see if they're going to have to rotate us back down to this 420, 460 like we were talking about, or if we can pop this into new 15s. Just watch our pivots. New 15s opening now, opening above value previous candle on both ES and on NQ. RTY continuing to push. Let's see what we do here. Do we trap up into these highs, or can we build a higher low and then pop above? We would love to see us continue to maintain POC from that sell side and hold it as supportive if we're going to continue up, ideally. Good hold so far. I think we're watching the retest of 500 would be my assumption here if offer continues to try to push this down. Two-sided trading here, lots of absorption into this 530 to 550. I'm not going to be comfortable with continuation until we show interest over that 550, 560 in bid. Right now, it's basically just watching, can we get over this 30-second opening range to head up to our ETH high up at 604. We're holding where we need to. We just need to show interest over this value here. Again, we got to flip this 550, 560 for secondary bids to step in. But once we do, should be able to head up to that ETH high, I think. 580 and then it's like 603. Just watching, this is our 30-second opening range high and this top of our supply here. Big pivot. Russell continues to push, giving us a bit more confidence. Watching our top edge here on NQ. It's 50 to 60. We'd love to see the bid step up here. Says ES into our 30-second opening range low. Beautiful. First touch into our 80 here. That's first target. We'll watch to see if we can hold this 50 to 60 on retest, ideally. And then go for that ETH high if we can hold this top edge. Beautiful retest. And there it is. Move your stops up, trail it, do whatever you got to do. There's target. little selling where we thought we would, right? Just at target on both ES and on NQ. Very clear absorption still into these highs. Watching our retest here as we push back down into our 50 to 60. Um, yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, we did the thing. So let's see what they do here. Price probably continues to fall until Russell finds a low, just like usual. Yes, and NQ pulling back. I'm watching this 520 to 500 area for a bid. Watching RTY to see if we can find that higher low here at our value edge on retest. If not, right, then that might be all we get. Sell side will try to defend this like 550, 560 to lower the offer to push us back down to 500. Bid will try to defend this 500, 520, try to hold us, get us back over. Just in our 30-second opening range again. ES and RTY continuing to push down. A little bit more room on ES down to 440. Testing into our seller now. Again, just our top edge here off of our retest and bounce off of that 520. A little bounce here on Russell and ES as well, allowing the market to get a little bit of a move up. The issue is that we have a very clear distribution above us now where we took in size, right, that we have to test into. We can see that on our POC to value here on our 15, and we're watching to see how we contend with that from our hold here. Stepping up into it now, retesting that original offer. So no change. Bid is still there, but we have to watch to see how we interact here now into 580 to 604 to see if this is going to be sell side absorption or if we can shift above from our bid here at our 520. Right. All we had to do is just wait for Russell to find a low. We watch that pivot with the rest of the market, and then the market goes up. Life's much easier when we have full participation. Coming back up into our absorption highs here now. Again, 590, 605. See if we can flip for this push up to 660 or if this is going to continue to hold. We'd love to see ETH highs go bid, right, and hold our POC from where our seller was sitting before. If we can show this interest above, we're going to be in a good spot for that continuation for our next leg. Just like we were looking on the flip over 50-60, right? We want to see aggressive buying happen up into where this absorption was, showing that this seller is no longer willing to take here, and they're gonna move up right to that 660 area, showing that we can continue. Watching now. Beautiful hold of our pivot, our ETH high, and push into our 640, 660. Same as before, this is just where supply sits, so gotta flip this. If we can flip it, we probably have some room. 700s, and then our next area of supply that we'll care about is up here into 775, like 813 area. But this is target off our bounce. Really great continuation trade since we called the that low there. We need to watch to see if Russell can get over this or if this is all we get. Great risk off. See if we can watch for a flip or if this is going to hold. Nice. What's up, Ty? Yeah, I probably will. It's like the only sport that I'll actually watch. I was so surprised how many people came out for the Brazil versus Egypt game this week. Insane. Like they packed the stadium. It was like 64,000 people, man. Just in like Brazil jerseys. Like, I didn't know that many people like knew where Brazil was in Ohio, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Mm-hmm. New 15s here in 40 seconds. A little look above our 60s with Russell continuation. A look above our previous day value high and ETH high on RTY. Watching to see what we do up here. Not an insane bid yet, but they're trying. There's a very clear flip on ES that's taken place here where this seller got absolutely ruined at 62 and we flipped above. So as long as that's kind of maintaining, this looks like a really solid potential to go for some continuation here. Really good flip has taken place into our 30-second opening range on ES. We haven't really seen that same flip happen on NQ yet, but if we can continue to maintain this pivot here, like 55 to 65, like that 10-point area on ES, I think we might be doing something pretty decent. I'd love to see what happens on a more dramatic retest of that 55-65, like on a look back, but for right now, again, like those guys are pretty screwed on this look above. See if they do anything with it. Big bid stepping in here at 74s on ES. On Q 680s. They're trying. RTY retesting our previous day value here on the look above. See if we can get this continuation. You can see on footprint, like we're just kind of taking in size above so far. That's why I was kind of hoping for a retest, but if they just want to push it, right, like it is what it is. We haven't seen that decision be made yet. Some big size stepping in here on NQ, taking in so far. Very two-sided into these highs at 690, 700. I feel like we probably need to retest 680. We're seeing some absorption here into 700s, but let's see what Russell does. If it can hold this ETH retest, I think we're okay without it, but it's like I said, it's just two-sided right now. We were definitely seeing them take in some size into 700. This 660, 680 feels like it's gonna have to be retested off of this 700 offer if we can't get back above. So we'll look for a pullback there. Watching Russell coming down into target. Let's see if we can find a bid or if this is just going to be absorption so far. You can see that what I've identified already, right, as we were taking in here into these highs, just pulling back now. POC above us. We've got POC below on ES here from our previous candle at 66, 65, that area. While Russell's coming down and NQ is just building here. Everything looks okay still, but we're just seeing some willingness from sellers to take in size. So trend's still good. We're just waiting for Russell to find this low. And then let's figure out what we're going to do. We're still maintaining where we need. Good 680 retest so far. Good bounce at our RTY ETH high. We're now above those sellers that were taking in size at 700 on NQ. We have not taken out the sellers that are on ES. We're just retesting into them right now into 74, 76. Watching as we push in. We like decently trapped into 690 on NQ there. That was good. Retesting highs here on ES. RTY looking at new highs. Great hold off of our ETH high. And this all looks okay so far. See what we can do. NQ schmovin'. You guys should be having a really solid day. Take your money and run, bud. Man, I was so close to not coming in today. I hate Mondays. At least this was good. Let's watch this flip. Again, it's just we've like kind of cucked the sellers at 690 pretty hard here on NQ. Just watch this retest as we push down into him again. I don't use 5 minute on NQ. I've got a 2 minute and I have a 1 minute for NQ. And I have a 15-minute footprint. Yes, I use a 15,000 tick chart or a 5 minute, and I've got it on a 1 minute as well. Yeah. So like this is what it looks like on the two. This is what it looks like on the one. This is what my variable, sorry, my large delta bubble settings are on the two. I think it's the same on the one. Yeah, it's the same. They're taking a decent size here at 75 ZES. Just watching. Yeah, 500 is way too high for NQ. That's what we've got for ES. Bid at 720 now. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold. You get two-sided auction, 735, 720. Just watching to see who wins this out on NQ so far. Yes, just retesting our ETH high. Russell, a little weakness, but still uptrend. We have 40 seconds until any 15s. LVN below us on NQ. POC of this current candle sitting at like 695, 700. It's really what I'm curious about, is just like how we interact as we push back down into this value to POC. But again, there's someone trying to take in size at 720. I just don't know if it makes sense for them to defend that when we can just pull back into that liquidity below into 705. But I guess we'll see. Do 15s, opening at value of our previous candle, trying to get us back over this 20. Let's see what they do here. Bid trying to step up, back above. RTY bouncing our halfway back, retesting highs. NQ retesting highs. Bid now looking to see if that buyer is going to defend that 20 on retest here off that look. Sell side still willing to sit into the 730, 734. Just again, just a battle between these two participants here. I'd love to see this 20 show interest here on retest. Show them willing to step up. Because I feel like if this 710, 720 doesn't hold now with this buyer here, and we can't get over 34s, then we'll pull back into that 685, 700. So we're really watching just like, can this become a higher low here with the bid now trying to recover that 20 for continuation? If the answer is yes, then we can keep going. If not, then we'll pull back to previous liquidity down to, again, like that 685, 700. So let's see if they can bid this. Yes, very clear. They're still absorbing into 75. But NQ and RTY are trying.
Israel's Netanyahu now speaking says Iran and Hezbollah are weaker than ever, but the war with them has not yet ended.
Yeah, this guy's still here. Just watching our pullback. Offer's going to try to step down here at 20s, where that buyer was interacting. We went right into
Netanyahu says Israel is
705,
holding fire in Iran for now.
but I'm not convinced as of yet. Just watching. It was a good instant reaction off that bid, but I want to see a bit more. If you got filled at 705, like that's fine, but we still need to be able to pop over this, or this guy's gonna still take in here. Yeah. But you can see in my chart that I shared with you, like I have a limit sitting at 705, right? It's the same as before. Just watching to
There's
see
no
if we can
English
take out highs.
translated version of Netanyahu yet. And Netanyahu says, in the event that Iran attacks Israel again, we will respond with might.
Good bit above so far. Just remember we have Netanyahu speaking right now, so just be careful. But good size got taken in there on ES and NQ pushing. ES is our lagger here. Still just into our absorption highs.
Okay, that looks like that's concluded his comments then from Netanyahu. Excuse me. Oh, it looks like the video just keeps cutting out here and there. He's still speaking. Netanyahu says, I told Trump that Israel has full right to self-defense.
It's just reaction off of that failure to take out highs so far, pushing back down to retest these guys with Netanyahu news. Just coming back down into our big area of defense that we want to see from NQ. Just watching this 85, 705 area. ES into our 30-second opening range high retest off of the absorption. No change so far. Let's just watch to see if we find a bid down here and can trap, get back up, or if we're going to do a more dramatic shift. It can get a bit messy if NQ starts to show interest below 85s. As long as we're continuing to bid though in this low, nothing really to talk about other than continuation potential. It's just if we start to flip below and the 705 starts to hold and then we step below 85s that we have to be concerned. Same thing with ES, like it's just into our area where we thought we would be able to bid. the 65, no change. But watching our reactions as we come back. Just POC a previous 50-minute candle, right? That's all we were doing. So big bid coming back into our 20s. If you're playing off of these lows, it's your first risk off. We look to see if we can flip, get back above. We do that. We show interest up here on the flip. We're good to go for continuation after retesting into the area we cared about. See what they do. Again, the 74 to 77 area on ES is very thick. We just got to get through this guy. But we know that there's an incredibly active participant here at our 65 PSC before. So let's see what they do. I'd risk off one because it's a known participant here on NQ and see if we can flip. If we can flip above our 35-25 pivot and show interest, you've got a good chance, right? We're back inside value. We've now rotated through value. So we flip over this and start to show interest on our top edge, then we get more. If not, right, we're going to have to pull back from these highs, retest our value edge to make a higher low here, and then look to see if we can do something like this, if it's going to be able to go for the continuation. So watch to see now what we do. This is why we always risk off into known liquidity first, and then we watch to see if we see a high or low reaction from it. Yes, full rotation. Just back into our bid here. RTY is still no higher low, just rotating. NQ lagging after that offer, stepping back down. Watching Russell to find a low before we actually can do anything. This is our first look below 85s, bit concerning. They're going to try to punish this. Let's see what they do here. Until Russell finds a low, it's not worth interacting. This flip of 85, like I said, is incredibly important. Watching our retest of it. Yes, no change. Just this is where the bet is. We're watching to see if they're going to flip or not. Again, we identified ES absorption very early on, and we saw that diverging compared to NQ. There's nothing here with this shift. All we've done is pull back into value of our upside candle. Now we're watching to see what the interaction is going to be between these two participants. Can we hold here and bid back up? Or is this going to fail and then start to rotate more to down, right? Like, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. Not yet. All we know is that we trapped pretty clearly into those highs on NQ and ES, easily identifiable. And we have now flipped below our buy pivot at that 85 to 705, and I'm watching to see what happens.
Israel military says sirens sounded regarding hostile aircraft infiltration in northern Israel's Metula and Misgav Am.
coming down into our buyer here on NQ. Watching this 600, 625 as we step down into them. This is NQ into our lows, and yes, into our liquidity as well. Russell, still no drop, right? Like still no bid. Watch to see how we participate here. This is POC of our upside. Really keeping my eye on this area. IB just closed. You see how like aggressive we got on that flip back below 685. We didn't even get the offer that I wanted. So now we're just fully rotating back down. The only area that I'm interested in, and I think where sell side can start to get absorbed a bit, is this test back into our 580, 560. And I'm really keeping my eye out here for
So
some
reminder, we should be
absorption and
expecting
Russell to
data for
find a
the
low.
6-month and 3-month bill auctions.
This is a pretty key area if we're going to continue to maintain our auction. Keeping an eye on this. The reason why we watch this area is this is like a full retrace of our move to the upside that we just got from the breakout. So remember, we were bidding off of this 550, 560 on original test for this push up. And then this was our big pivot here at our 580 where we started to see that absorption flip to a very reactive supportive bid. So to me, this is a good test to let us know if we still have active participants stepping in
6-month
here
bill bid cover
and
of
willing to defend, or if
2.75 and
rotations
high
back
yield
are
of
in fully
3.69%,
in effect.
with US selling $77 billion in 6-month bills and awarding 95.45% of bids at high. US 3-month bill US 3-month bill bid cover of 2.79 with a high yield of 3.64%. The US selling $89 billion. And awarding 6.48% of bids at high.
They're trying to take in a little here at 580, 560, but nothing crazy yet. It's nothing worth trying to knife catch. We're seeing some profit taking, again, but like it's not as reactive as we want as of yet.
S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 come off day's highs.
So just be patient, wait for Russell to find this low. I'm hoping that we get it here at this VWAP and day open retest, and NQ finds some, is willing to take in size here as we push down into our lows. It's just wait for Russell to find a bid, and then we'll look to participate on the right side of the.
So no headline to back up the movement. We did have Netanyahu just repeating his rhetoric what he said in the past, that the war with Iran and Hezbollah is not ended yet, but he's holding off for now.
Like if you didn't if you didn't get put in on the flip of our 580s, this move is not very catchable in my opinion. So now you just have to wait for a pullback to our reversion targets, which is what we're doing now. And then we watch to see what happens, and then we'll get good secondary moves afterwards. So again, just pushing into target now here on NQ and Russell. ES also coming down to PVZ value in our weekly AVU up, right? So to me, this now makes sense to watch for reactions, and let's see if we find a bid here. If Russell can find the bid with ES into our 580, 560, sorry, with NQ into our 580, 560 and Russell into our VWAP, and we can see a strong secondary participant try to step in here, I want to be much happier looking for this as a potential viable entry for a rotation back up to at least our 630, 640. If we can
Israel
find a
military
viable bid back over
spokesperson
580
issues
here.
evacuation warning for residents of an area in southern Lebanon's Tyre.
Just watching to see if Russell can find this low here off of the initial reaction. See if secondary buyers step in. So far, they're just being absorbed into 80. Russell continuing to push down, retesting view up. Russell, beautiful bid off our VWAP. All we have to do is wait, push back up again into our 630, 650 area. That's your target here. The flip of 580 with Russell. Watching to see what we do here now as we push back up into this high. This will be our first real test to let us know what we want to do if we fail to get back up into this auction. Again, just keep an eye here, see what we're going to do. But beautiful test from that low. And now we watch our edge. Again, this 30 to 50 area is your first risk off if you're playing the flip
Israel
of our
military
580
says
with
sirens
Russell
that sounded in
lows.
areas in northern Israel earlier over an aircraft infiltration was false alarm.
If we can flip back over 50s, we can then rotate back up to our 690, I think. But we have to show interest here first. Really important. A beautiful bid again off of our 560, 580.
Saudi Defense
With
Ministry
Russell
says
low.
ballistic missile launch from Yemen was heading towards regional country.
But no like right side of V yet, right? Like it's just an initial knife catch reaction off of our VWAP
Saudi
bounce
Defense
and our
Ministry says
low.
ballistic missile launch from Yemen fell in an empty area near Saudi-Yemeni borders.
So again, you should be risking off 2/3 of your size, right, into first target. And then you can try to leave a runner here if we can flip this like 630, 650 area for that push back up to our big major pivot, right? At that, that like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, 690, 685, 705. Like this is our big pivot. We're just watching to see how we push up into this. We have movement until Russell loses momentum, right? But we're coming up into our big pivot here on NQ and on ES. Sorry, it's really hard to try to update charts while also actually taking trades. Russell coming up into our pivot, retesting our big break where we saw this absorption last and into our upper structure. This will be our first potential loss of momentum here if Russell can't get back up into this higher balance. These guys here. Watching our retest. It's just that 550, sorry, 650, 630 area, seeing if we can find this bid. We just start pushing up into our big absorption, right? Russell losing some momentum, just like we talked about. Now watching to see if we find a higher low here on retest for the full market. Again, we have no right side of V yet. We just have a initial bounce off of an area that we thought would be reactive. We're now watching to see if we put higher lows in across the board. We're watching our pivot here that we've shown interest at, right, on Russell. Can we make this higher low here and then bid up? Can we hold our 650, 630 area on NQ and get back over? Can we show interest here on ES at our 30-second opening range and push above? If we can do these things, then we have potential for a right side of V, right? But we want full market participation on this higher low after a recovery and retest of our main pivots, right? This is ES POC. This is NQ into our larger pivot where we bought for the first time, right? On the shift above our 580, 560, 30-second opening range hold. And this is Russell from our VWAP, right? So now we're watching to see if we have secondary participants off of this area to actually push us back up, or if these upper distributions that we've made on the day, right? These sellers here, these sellers here, are they going to hold? And is this retest going to fail? And are we going to put in a lower high, right? Like we don't know yet. So now we're just waiting to see what they're going to do. Can we get back up or not, right? Like that's the question. If we can, and we can get back into these distributions, it'll be great because now we have liquidity at these lows that is in a really bad situation, right? But we still need to see these secondary participants step in here and show us that interest. So far, like pretty decent bid off of our 50 to 30 on NQ. But again, got to get over these sellers that are above. Big ass size above us. Later, Ben. Yeah, I mean, I think NQ is just coming up to our 690, 705 area, to be honest. But
It's N12
let's
News
see what
now,
they do.
citing a report that Trump told Netanyahu that he believed that the US and Iran are nearing an agreement on framework that would enable the parties to come to the negotiating table toward a long-term agreement.
Yeah, like to me, this is just like makes the most sense for your first risk off on NQ for secondaries if you're playing off of that 650, 630, or if you're in from that 580, 560. It's like until we can flip back above this and show an active participant willing to step in at 705 for the rotation back up to 730. It's just like, we'll just like move stops up, see what we do. If Russell wants to hold here, we're in a great position. We just want to see someone actively want to participate here back into this upper range. If we can start to do that and then show that, we'll be in a great spot. If the bid fizzles out here, then it's like, okay, well, not much to do. Russell found the bid where we needed it, right in the bottom of this value. Yes, rotating off our 30-second opening range and holding PVZ now is supportive, pushing up into previous day POC now. We have sell side liquidity, again, just sitting above us. We've already identified this on ES. Still remains the same. Just really keeping our eye as we push into that. I gotta delete our drawings, sadly. Again, this is NQ trying to breach back into this upper distribution. So far, no luck, but we'll see what they do here.
SpaceX's Nasdaq IPO is said to be well oversubscribed. SpaceX is said to plan closing IPO books Wednesday post-close.
Russell and NQ inability to get back into these upper distributions. Watching pullbacks right now. They're trying to take in size at 670. I am not sold on it yet. Watching for Russell to find a low. So far, it's just the rejection we thought we were going to get, right? We're not seeing anything new. It's just the failure to get back into that upper auction. Just back down to our 650. If we were going to do something new, I think what we would want to see is basically this seller that's at our 705 and now pushing us back down basically fail to really do anything of importance, right? We're getting a bit of a negative delta on this candle, but we basically want them to fail here, and then we want deltas to flip back positive and show that they aren't really shit, and then we go green again on next candle. I think that that's kind of what we're looking at. Russell coming back down to our lows. We're watching NQ reactive at our 650 like we talked about. Things look okay so far, right? But now we just need to see if this candle can flip green delta wise, or if again like the offer is just going to remain here after our initial wick into 705, and then we like put in a lower high, and then sell side like really tries to step in here to defend a lower high at 680, 690, and then push us below. Right, it's two-sided. Like we haven't made a decision yet if we're gonna be able to get back in and rotate up, or if this is going to hold still and then we're gonna get back below. We just don't know yet. We don't have enough info. What we know is that there's someone actively trying here, this 50 to 30. We know that there's someone still actively here selling at our edge, and we're watching to see if Russell can hold the higher low for the market to get another upthrust while ES is balanced in its 30-second opening range. So if you are bidding off of that 650, 630, right, like this is your first risk off here into 90 to 705. It just has to be. We just don't know if we're going to be able to breach yet. Russell got its nice bid at our lows, but until we see an active participant willing to take above that 700 area and do something with it, they will continue to try to take in here short term. Delta just flipped. Candle still has 7 minutes though. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, there's not a lot here until we can flip this. And even then, when we do flip it, it's like we still just got the battle with these highs. So let's just continue to see if we can build this out. But it's going to be a little rough for right now. Like I said, I've taken off most size. I just have a couple runners on. Just watching to see if we can continue to hold this 630, 650, or if this is going to fail. I don't really, yeah, like I said, don't have much to say other than we wait to see if Russell can continue to maintain this high and if we can continue to try to hold here and get back up, or if this will fail. I'm stopped there. Watch to see what reaction is. Russell continuing to fall. No ability to get back above our absorption here. Watching our edge on NQ and ES. Watching Russell to come back down to view up, see what happens. We look for that to find its next low, and then we look to initiate again. Just watching our day open to view up area here once again on RTY. Let's see what we do. They'll try to flip the 630, 650 on NQ. Just watching Russell as we come back down. So like I said before, they're trying to flip 630, 650. Offers holding there right now. Just rotating back down to um, our 580, 560. Russell still just trying to build down here. Yes, back to our big pivot. New 15's opening now. Just playing down to 580 POC of our previous candle into our lows here. If you're playing off that 630, that's your first risk off here as we push down. Should be just watching to see how reactive we are into 580, 560 now that we flipped our 630, 650 and Russell's back down to this VWAP. This is the same area where we found a reactive bid on last attempt. So you want to be closing any, you want to be at least risking off some shorts as we push down and watching to see if we have any sort of larger shift at our disposal, or if this will be the same pivot as before. Nothing crazy. Just rotation. So I think like if you guys have like a really good morning and you start chasing trades where you are no longer like being reasonable, right? And you start to give back a lot of your gains and you continue to take like L after L after L chasing after having a really solid morning. What you need to realize, or what you need to really understand, is like if you flip from incredibly green to red on the day, you have failed as a disciplined trader. What you need to do is stop yourself from flipping that account back red and at least staying break even or green on the day and walking away. It is incredibly important if you are on a prop firm account that you don't full what's the word, do round trip your day, because the only thing that matters is your drawdown, right? So you are doing yourself such a major disservice by round tripping. What prop firms, the way to handle these is to have solid couple green trades and then walk away for the day. they want you to stay here the entire day. They want you to give back that money because the round trip moves up your daily loss, right? It moves up your trail and makes you less likely to succeed in passing that eval or getting that payout, right? They want you to round trip. They want you to move up your most recent high. You need to have some discipline to, if you fail a trade, right, to at least have a lockout. Either if you're beyond Tradeify, right, you can set a lockout where you maintain at least a X amount of profit after you're over it. So if you need to make a minimum of $150 a day to get a payout, you want to at least have a lockout at 150 once you're past that, so that you can't give that back. That is the most important thing on a prop account, is that you are maintaining your green days. So it's fine to give some of your green back. I'm not telling you that you have to have a 100% win rate, but what it isn't fine is to have an amazing morning where you have no losers, and then you take 6 or 3 to 6 losing trades in a row, and you're not stopping out properly. You're giving it back, and you're clearly now in a different mental state, right? Because that's a complete shift, and that's how you blow up an account, is when you start to try to make it back, right?
Around
Make it
Stay
back.
Media says flight
back.
restrictions have been lifted with airspace returning to normal conditions.
And I really want to reiterate that because, I mean, I think Ben's a really good example of him giving a lot of his profits back, but what he did do was leave, which is really good, and I gotta commend him for that, because he recognized that he fucked up, which is great. Him fucking up sucks, right? But like, it is what it is. It's the reality of the situation. What can't happen is that you continue to stay and try to make that money back. And the reason why I say why that's a bad thing is that, because if you do make that money back while staying, you're poisoning your entire strategy, right? If you do a coin flip and that coin flip lands on the right side, but you know that you weren't supposed to be trading and you're supposed to be following your rules, what do you think that does to your mental? Do you think that you're going to leave the next time that you're red on the day? Or do you think you're going to say, well, I made it back one day, so now I can avoid my rule set, and I can now revenge trade, and it just works out, right? What you want to be doing is being consistent with your rule set, even when you're losing, and not have these FOMO or impulsive trades, because if they do pay out, they completely poison your rule set. They completely poison your mindset, because now you feel like you're back, right? Oh, I'm back, baby. Even if it was just luck. You've now taken that 50-50 trade, and now it's completely just annihilated your entire mental thought process. It is something that you need to think about. It is much better to be disciplined, stick to your rules, and try again tomorrow, than take the 50-50 and maybe potentially blow up your account and ruin your entire, week or month, or whatever it took you to pass that eval, or all the work that you've been putting into it. You have to be disciplined. I cannot stress this enough for passing a prop firm. It is the only thing that matters. Think about what happens when you have a really great day the day before, and then the next day you start to size up and you give back those gains that you made from the day before. What have you done? Well, when you had that really good day, you just moved your trailing stop up, right? Your daily loss limit follows. So if you're on a 50K account, it's not at 48,000 anymore. It's at 52,000 if you had a good day, right? Or it's at whatever you ended at the day before. So if you now give all of that day back, you haven't built a buffer. All you've done is moved your stop up, right? You've moved your daily loss up. The most important thing you can do is to not have red days, or if you're going to have red days, keep them as minimal as possible, right? You want to be stopping yourself from that excess, because all you're doing is eating into your drawdown. Remember, that's the only rule that really matters in an eval. It's the only thing you need to care about. And so if you're not trading around that rule, you are fucking yourself. There will always be another opportunity. You do not need to make it back today. What you need to do is survive today. So if you start to catch yourself over trading, if you start to catch yourself giving back a lot of your gains, right? Remember, what am I actually doing? What am I playing around? Am I playing around the ego of the screenshot at the end of the day, or am I playing around the drawdown, right? Am I trying to pass this account, or am I trying to get two upvotes, two emojis in Discord. Just like remember what like actually matters. Do you want to make real money or do you want some fucking reactions in Discord? Be disciplined. That's funny. I think that like if you're going to be serious and you're in like a 50K account, first of all, any trailing stop is cancer. You want a daily trail, right? Not an intraday. But I would set yourself a lockout at, I don't know, $400 or $500 a daily loss like lockout, and I would set a daily profit lockout around like $800 to $1,000. And I would just try to consistently trade that and try to take like 2 or 3 good trades a day. And if you give back that money, right, you just walk away for the day and you try again tomorrow, right? But you need to be able to filter out a lot of this noise. You need to be able to do it. It's the only way that's ever going to work. I'm telling you. We had like 7 green trades in a row this morning with minimal drawdown. To give that back and to now try to play midday when we know midday is absolute ass to try to make back your gains is setting yourself up for so much failure. I can't even like, I have no words. Like you made all your money from 10 to 11 and now you're going to try to make up your money during 12 to 1? Are you stupid? New 15's open here, 40 seconds. We're just into our 630, 650. Russell trying to build a higher low after looking at a view up. We are still just at our value edge here in NQ, just battling it. trying to get back above ES at our 30-second opening range low, rejecting after bouncing our daily POC. New 15s, again, just opening here relatively soon. Let's see if we get something new or if they continue to take in size here. I hope you guys, like, I know that I'm not, like, upset with you. I just, like, I need you to, like, come to this realization yourself. And I'm a bit passionate, and hopefully that you understand what I'm saying and why what I'm saying, like, matters. Like, it's just, like, you have to care about this shit. It's the only way it's ever gonna work, man. Good higher low bid here on Russell, pushing up, hold of our 30s, bit of our 50s. I'd like to be able to see this hold this edge and rotate back up to at least our 80, 85 for that POC retest here where the seller sits. See what they do. See if we can get this bid to hold here with Russell continuation. Very similar setup on ES, just into these highs. Very clear that they got taken in and absorbed. I don't know about that one, sorry. We need to see Russell find this bid here, and ES ideally find this bid here at 56. And NQ, of course, like, try to hold this 50 if we're gonna go up to that 80. Right, because if we don't, like, what are we doing up here? What does this look like? It's gonna be like offside liquidity, right? As soon as we step back below. So we want to see like a pretty clear willingness to hold here for that rotation up into this POC. Or this is going to trap, right? And then we look for that rotation back down, and then we play the reoffer with this liquidity then as our pivot. So again, just like same thing on Russell, trying to get over these highs. If we can do that, then we can do something new. If not, this is the same failure as before. We're just pushing up into these. Oh yeah, market will humble you. It does not care. I just filled my first contracts into 80. Another limit at 85, and then I'll have 5 runners left just in case we can flip. But again, like just we're risking off into our known supply. We always take off into known liquidity. Don't be an idiot. And then let's figure out what we do. Just playing off of our 630, 650 hold, right? That's all. So 30 points. That's our second
US
fill there.
forces disabled non-compliant oil tank in the Gulf of Oman. US forces disabled an unladen oil tank in the Gulf of Oman June 8th. US says munitions fired into ships engineering and steering spaces. So US forces disabled Palu-flagged MT Marivex as it transited international waters in the Gulf of Oman towards Iran. And the US says that the vessel violated blockade against Iran.
Again, if you're going to trade like on a smaller time frame, you have to take profits into known liquidity. You have to. You're taking really small, like really tight, I should say, trades, really tight risk, right? So our reward is good, but you have to understand that these are like probability setups, right? We're just rotating between known participants. And so like this trade makes sense if you're willing to put the risk on and understand that like this is your risk to reward, right? It's a 2-to-1. But if you don't take your reward and you let it fully come back on you, right, like then we have issues. You have to take it into known liquidity. We know that this has been our pivot. I've been talking about this 85 to 705 for the last 2 hours. It's a 2-to-1, but like you got to take profits on it. We know that's where the sell side liquidity is sitting, and so if you don't take profits there, or at least risk off 2/3, and you give it all back, right? You're being greedy. And if you can't handle trading these smaller time frame trades like this and to a known target, right, into known liquidity, then you need to, increase your time frame, increase your stops, lower your leverage, right, so that you can handle that wider stop, and then trade for larger structural PTs. That's not a problem, right? It's okay that's okay, right? Like you're allowed to not feel comfortable in trades like this. But what you can't do is take the trade and then not take the profit, right? The system only works if you're actually being disciplined with the areas where you're looking to take. And then like the real big money that we make is from runners. Like if our runners pay, then they really pay, right? But if not, then we've taken off into first and second targets, and the trade's free, right? And then we make like minimal profits. We cover fees, we cover everything we need to, right? And we're okay. But like, again, like you have to start treating this instead of like it's going to be a one-day lotto ticket that makes you, you know, millions of dollars into something that you're able to compound with. Lower highs across the board after testing into our supply once again. And now just waiting for Russell to come back down to view up again to see if we get another trade. We see that NQ has shifted. We are back below our 30 to 50 once again. Yes, coming back down to POC here. NQ now sitting at 630. Russell coming back down to view up now. We have 30 seconds until new 15s. Back to our 580 here on NQ. Yes, again, back into our POC. RTY back into this low, watching to see if we're going to get a reactive bid once again or if something new will happen. Offer is going to, of course, try to attempt to lower this, right? Get us out of here. Do something new. Bid will try to defend. New 15s have just opened. Let's see if Russell can get back above our day open again, like on the last attempt into this VWAP, or if we'll start to see that downside move play off of a failure to actually shift back above. Right, what I'm saying is, so far, all of these dips have been bought, secondary buyers stepped in and then rotated us back up. We're watched to see if that same thing happens here again off of this low, or if we'll see some sort of shift where we start to step down and then need to rotate back down to, I don't know, 65, 60, 66 if we fail. Right, like either the pattern remains the same or we'll shift and we'll see the offer lower.
Pentagon posts a list of entities in Federal Register to be designated as Chinese military company, according to Federal Register notice.
We're gonna do this again, where every Chinese company that's listed on the stock exchange is gonna go become a military company again. That was like the worst era where everything was just being like threatened to be delisted.
Again, the Pentagon issues a list of Chinese military firms operating in the US.
If you were trading level to level today, was pretty easy day on NQ. I agree. But it's one of those things where you get caught right? Where you're like, maybe it will go, and then you move your stop, or you don't take profit and you let it come back, and then you add back at the lows, and then like something is shifted, and then all of a sudden you're over leveraged and you take a really wide stop, or like a stop that has too much size, and then all of a sudden you're starting to give back, and then you start to like mentally spiral, and that's when things, start to get out of hand. It's the classic. As soon
We
as
have
you
posted out the
lose
list on feel free
focus
to read through.
and you stop playing your system and you start playing, right, your emotion, that's when things start to um really start to spiral, and you have to be able to catch yourself and be like, oh wait, what am I doing?
Sorry, here's a better link.
But yeah, if you're being disciplined, right, if you're just being as mechanical as possible and you're trading from liquidity to liquidity and you're waiting for full market participation, if you're waiting for the higher low, right, things can be really good. Later, surf. Again, it's just like what you're gonna make out of it, man. Like I can't stress that enough. It's like,
So in the list, then you have Alibaba that's listed there.
you gotta take this shit seriously and follow your rules. It's the only way.
Also Baidu as well.
Yes, exactly. You should never be going negative. You should use your profit as a buffer. Like I said before, like especially if you're on prop, like all you're doing is giving away your drawdown. Use your buffer as your profit on the day, and if it doesn't work, then you leave and you try again tomorrow. Right? Like if you have 2 or 3 successful trades that gives you a really solid buffer, I'd give yourself, 1 or 2 chances to use your profits that you just made on the day to, take some setups to try to extend that. But if those don't work, you don't go into your drawdown. You do not go into that. Your drawdown should be for the days where, right, like you're losing. You should never take a winning day and then go into your drawdown that a prop firm gives you, in my opinion. Like save it for another day. It just does not make sense. And that's only for like more experienced traders, in my opinion. I think that if you have 1 or 2 setups in the morning that you catch, and you know that like you're like, oh wow, that was easy. Like Maldito said this morning, it's like, okay, now set a lockout, right? Keep that 150 so that you can maintain your account integrity and slowly compound up, right? Like don't give it back. Like literally lock yourself out. At least maintain what you need to be able to pass your eval and to take out your funded payment, right? Like a lot of these accounts require a $150 or $200 daily win. So make that your stop after you've gotten into profit so that you can't give it back. Like to do what you need to do to set yourself up for success. So get out of your own way, right? Your hands and your mind are the enemy in that moment. So do what you got to do. They want you to sit at the table the entire day, right? They want like the casino wants you to be at that table because they know objectively the longer you sit there, the more likely you are to lose, right? And to give it back. Give it back to the house. It's the what if, right, that keeps you there. And as soon as you start thinking about the what if instead of the what I need to do, right? Like that's when you start to lose, because like remember, like your only job is to meet those payout goals, and you don't have to do it in a single day. That's not your objective. Later, man. Another full rotation here off of a flip of our 580 with Russell looking above. Rotation back up to our 630. No change. Same balance. Full rotation here once again. $560, $580, continue to maintain. Bid stepped over $580, rotation up to POC. Until we can get over this and show interest, this is the top. We watch to see if Russell can build here at day open. And if NQ can get over the 630, 650. If we can, then we can rotate it back up to our 690, 710 area. So we basically have two options right now while we are waiting. We can see that value is shifted on the day, right? So our POC has built out down here from the morning auction, and now we've shifted POC up here, and we can see that value is starting to shift downwards, right? So what we have going on for us is a potential reversion trade back down to this open this morning if value continues to shift down with price, and we are unable to sustain where we are currently. So what we're watching is basically, can we build here and continue to find reactions off of our previous value highs, right? Which is here from the open, and our VWAP, which is what we're holding, this 60 to 80 area that we've been playing around. But right, like if value continues to shift down, which is this orange line, and we're unable to sustain it as supportive, well, where do you guys think we're going to head? Well, we're going to head back down to where we originally found value on the day, right? So that's what I'm just trying to show you here with this is this model is showing you the shift of value. So we got this really nice push up from our morning auction that allowed for this rotation up. We're now seeing, right, our POCs holding the highs, and we're watching price step down or value shift back down towards that area. So if we don't continue to see strong reactions here and start to be able to sustain back above these levels, right, we're going to instead shift below, see our VWAP instead of being a reactive support start to go as a resistance, and we're going to head back down to our AM value. So just something to be aware of. We can see how, like again, we got a really nice shift with POC establishing into our lows, look above our VWAP, big push outside of value. But then again, we created this distribution. We fizzled out at our highs when we started to call out that absorption. And now it's just a waiting game here to see if we start to show that interest below this 60 level and start to offer it. We can see that POC is starting to really shift downwards, and we would be just reverting back down to our previous value here at 430. Right, we're watching for this basically to flip VWAP wise.
According to TASS, Russian Energy Ministry says the increase in airstrikes on energy sector facilities is causing temporary difficulties with fuel supplies in the south of Russia. So according to Keynote, Apple's Tim Cook says WWDC announcements will center on Apple's intelligence and Siri. The S&P 500 index pairs gained to 0.5%. The Nasdaq 100 index also pairs gained to 1.8%.
We have to get below this 500 for the move to 430. Until then, you are stuck in a small auction between 500 and 560. Just our previous buyers who are absorbing here at 560 to 580 going to hold on retest as resistance, basically. That's it. So we watch this as we push in.
Apple announces
and
Mac
see what we do.
OS 27 Golden Gate.
Same thing with ES here into our value edge and RTY into our POC. Does offer sit here and hold? If the answer is yes, then we'll have one more leg down to the POC that we were looking at before as the migration, right? We can see that POC continuing to migrate, and we have now stepped below that VWAP, right? So now this is our test to see if sell side's willing to hold for this rotation back down.
Tesla shares rise 4.1%.
I'm leaving relatively soon. I had a really good morning. Nothing really to do. Just watching to see if we get this last leg down for the reversion or if we're going to go back up into that chop. Later, Zeno. So far, pretty clear rejection at our 580. 560 so far. Need to get below 500s for that reversion though, like I said before. It's just a retest of our buy side absorption. We're watching to see if these guys can hold as resistance now with Russell at our POC and, like I said, ES at our value edge. Nothing has changed. We rejected exactly where we thought we would across the board. Yeah. But we need to be able to take out lows for something new to happen. This would be your first risk off if you're playing off of our pivots as we retest our lows into our liquidity. And then we would look for sellers to try to slam this to make a new low. Again, this is your first risk off if you are playing off of this. We were looking for sell side to slam this for that rotation down to our 460, 430 reversion target, back down to POC from this morning. We have to get it below this 500 for that to have any sort of play. But once we do, then we can start to rotate back down to those participants. Right down in that like 430 areas would be my target if 500 flips.
Apple says the iOS 27 will extend back to iPhone 11 models.
Do we understand like what I'm saying or no? I don't know if there are even a lot of you left, but we have flipped our buy side absorption to now our seller sitting here, right? New 15s opening here soon. So far, reactive off 500s, taking in some size, but nothing insane yet. Just getting a slight bounce with Russell into our value low. Coming back up to retest our 50 to 80. Same thing with ES at our value low. Again, new 15's open here, 10 seconds.
So Fitch Ratings has changed its global sovereign sector outlook to deteriorating on Iran war impact. So Fitch changes global sovereign sector outlook to deteriorating on the Iran war impact. So Fitch Ratings says expects US-Iran conflict to weaken GDP growth and raise inflation and bond yields, heighten geopolitical risks for global sovereigns. The Fitch Ratings piece is on the feed for those interested.
Another reaction off our buyer side absorption, push back down to our 500, no change. RTY and ES retesting lows, NQ retesting lows, same pivot, no change. Watching to see if sell side can shift below this, testing into value low of our previous candle now. Just like before, it is the same first risk off. We are looking for sell side to try to sweep this and defend for that rotation down to our 430 area, if we're going to do it. If not, right, I will continue to try to bid here, and we will continue to be in balance until a participant is offsides enough for us to move. It just is what it is. 50
The
points
Lebanese
is
president,
still really nice.
Joseph Ornoun, to CNN says, for the time being, we are negotiating a non-aggression agreement with Israel. So again, according to the Lebanese president, talking to CNN, saying that for the time being, we are negotiating a non-aggression agreement with Israel. Furthermore, Lebanese president says, I will not meet Netanyahu before reaching an agreement to end the war.
Later, Basil. Basil. Ugh, I'm just waiting to see if we're gonna get this break on my last, or if we're not. It feels like they want to. Russell continues to make lower highs, but it's just that midday garbage, man. So I don't know. I wouldn't like leave though relatively soon. I want to go work. Just looking to see if we can get this last leg before I go. There's the view up flip that we talked about, right? Just holding that 50 to 80, just pushing right back down into our value. It's just taking ages. But we got our shift from our highs where we spotted that absorption. We've been getting lower highs ever since. POC shifting down. And now we're just back to this morning's opening range, right? And we're watching to see if this is going to be able to hold here and do something with this, right? Can we continue to take in here? Or does this now shift downwards now that we're below VWAP and rejecting it? Do they continue to take here and then push us back down to this morning's open into this 430 area? We just don't know yet. A lot of buying happened here in the past, and we're just watching to see how this interaction is going to occur. We can even put a fixed range on this so that you can see what I'm talking about. Right, we're just trying to hold right now our range high of this morning's auction, right? So what happens if we get below this 500? Why do we target this 430? What does that actually show? Let me turn off indicators. Well, that would be us getting back into this morning's auction, right? If we flip this 500, then that would be a rotation back down to POC. And then our lower target would be this 380, right? Right now we're just bidding where we did our breakout from this morning, right? We played this all the way up, identified absorption into our highs, played the range rotation, identified where buyers were absorbing, and now we're holding below that, and we're in between, right? Two auctions. We've got our upper auction, right? And we have our lower auction. Right, we've identified two participants. Where's price building? Well, in between them, right? Sell side is trying to shift value down, right? Bid used to be buying off of this. Now we're trying to hold this as an offer and get below so that we can then rotate through this auction, right? Like that's the whole idea of what's happening right now. So we are in this weird limbo area in between this lower auction and this upper auction. And we're watching to see if we can continue to maintain this edge and lift and get back above and see active participants willing to step in here where they were on these previous attempts, right? Or is this going to trap and give us what we need to then rotate down through? We don't know yet, right? All we know is where these two auctions took place and where the edge is, which is why we've been taking profit into 500. And we just watch to see if they continue to absorb into these highs and if we can then rotate below for that target. If we're able to sustain, then we can rotate back up. Nothing crazy. Right? Let's see if this flip can hold. I'd love to see a better retest. But we have room up to 630 if we don't just see this 580 bid. We don't want to, again, like what we want to see here is a very clear willingness from buyers to participate on this look back into this range, right? We want to see a very clear bid to step us back up. What happens if this bid fizzles out here on retest instead? Well, then we're going to be watching for that same offer again, but now a takeout of lows, because what have we done? Well, we've trapped this liquidity then. So we want to see an incredible bid and be able to hold this for this rotation back up. Super important. New 15's just opened.
Iran's top negotiator Ghalibaf, in a message posted on a Telegram channel, says we will turn the naval blockade into another defeat for the enemy.
Into the mid of our upper distribution. Seeing some sell side step in here. I'd like to see this retest our edge like we talked about if we're going to do the full upside. Retesting our 580 there. Pretty quick liquidity into it.
Iran's top negotiator Ghalibaf says Trump's statements about the Memorandum of Understanding were against the agreed parts of the deal.
Again, incredibly important area to see if we're going to be able to find a higher low.
And Iran's top negotiator Ghalibaf says this shows the US is neither seeking a ceasefire nor dialogue. Apple shares extend advance to session high, up 2.7%. Google shares pair dropped to less than 1%, had been down 2.2%.
Good hold of our view up on flip and retest. looking at our 80s now to watch to see if we can flip this for this continuation up now that we've shown a willingness to sustain. Not an insanely active bid, but it is what we wanted to see so far. I'd like to see someone now step up and try to like actually push this thing if it's going to go.
Lebanon's president to CNN says, I tell the Israeli government that the military solution will never provide security to the
Still
people
very
of northern
two-sided.
Israel.
Seller into 80s, buyer into 50s.
And Lebanon's president to CNN says, we seek a good relationship with Iran based on non-interference.
Russell leading down.
Apple shares gained 2.5% after the company unveils new AI features at the WWDC conference. Iran's top negotiator Galabaf says our goal is the end of the war and a stable security, and we have no trust towards the opposing party.
Bro, we're not going anywhere with these headlines. Like, the offer needs to, like, slap this thing if it's gonna do it. I don't understand why we're just sitting here. We've now trapped above, like we talked about. They're offering, but we need to get below 500s as quick as possible for this lower rotation, or we're just stuck, which is just not a great situation. I don't know. I keep saying I'll give it like another minute, but like I want to go work. I've got things I want to do.
Apple shares sink to a session low during Siri presentation.
Hmm. All right, I'm out of here. Not worth my time. Peace.